Let me start with a moment you probably know. You walk into a room and you stop. You came in here for something. You know you did. It was clear as day 30 seconds ago, standing in the kitchen. And now you're just standing there, in the doorway, waiting for it to come back. Or you're mid-sentence, telling a story you've told 100 times, and the name of the town, the name of the actor, the name of your own cousin's husband, it's gone. Right on the tip of your tongue, and it will not come. It shows up an hour later, uninvited, while you're washing a plate. And here's the part one really want to talk about. It's not the forgetting that hurts most. It's the thought that comes right behind it. Is this how it starts? That quiet, cold little question. The one you don't say out loud. Because your mother had it, maybe. Or an uncle. And every time a name slips, a small voice says, there it is. It's beginning. This is the road, and I'm on it now. I want to speak to that voice tonight. Gently, but honestly. Because there's something almost nobody explains to you clearly, and once you understand it, a lot of that fear loosens its grip. Most of the forgetting that scares people over 50 is not the brain breaking down. It's the brain not getting the one thing it needs to lock a memory in place. And that one thing happens at night. While you sleep. Here is the truth that changes everything. Your memory is not made in the moment you live it. You don't record a memory the way a phone records a video, pressing a button and saving the file right then. That's not how the human brain works. When you learn something, when you meet someone, when you read a page, your brain only takes a rough, temporary, fragile sketch. A note scribbled on a wet napkin. And that sketch does not become a real, lasting memory until you sleep. Sleep is when the brain takes the napkin and copies it, carefully, into permanent ink. Sleep is when it decides what to keep and what to let go. Sleep is when the day you just lived gets filed away where you can find it again, or gets lost forever. Think about what that means. If your sleep has been getting lighter, shorter, more broken, and after 50, for almost everyone, it has, then night after night, your brain is being handed a stack of napkins and not given enough time to copy them into ink. The memory was never broken. It was just never fully saved. And that changes the whole story. Because you cannot do much about your age. But your sleep? Your sleep, you can work with. Your sleep, you can protect and rebuild. And when you do, people are often shocked at how much sharper they feel in a matter of weeks. Names come back faster. The room you walked into makes sense again. The fog lifts a little. So I don't want you to hear this as one more lecture telling you to sleep more, as if you hadn't thought of that. I want to show you something more useful. I want to take you inside the night. I want to show you what your brain is actually doing in those hours when you think nothing is happening, because it turns out the busiest, most important work of your entire day happens after your head hits the pillow. We're going to talk about how sleep saves your memories. How it makes you a better learner, even now, even at 70. How it quietly solves problems your waking mind couldn't crack, the real reason people say let me sleep on it. And how, after 50, the rules of the game shift, and what to do about it. None of this asks you to buy anything. None of it is complicated. It's just an understanding of your own body that most people go their whole lives without. So settle in. Get comfortable. This might be the most important conversation you have about your brain all year. Because the way you sleep tonight is going to shape the mind you wake up with tomorrow. Let me take you into the night. into your own head, in the hours after you fall asleep. Most of us picture sleep as an off switch. The lights go out, the machine powers down, nothing happens until morning. Rest, and then day again. Blank in between. That picture is completely wrong. And it's worth throwing it out, because it's the reason people undervalue sleep their whole lives. The moment you fall asleep, your brain does not shut down. It clocks in. It starts a shift, a night shift, that is every bit as active, in its own way, as your waking day. Sometimes more so. There are parts of your brain that are busier while you sleep than while you're awake. And the main job of that night shift is your memory. Here's roughly how it goes. All day long, you gather experiences. A conversation. A face. Where you left your glasses. A word in a crossword. Your grandson's new phone number. Each of these gets held in a little region deep in your brain, a curved piece about the size of your little finger, called the hippocampus. Think of it as a desk. A temporary desk, right by the door, where the day's papers land as they come in. That desk is fast, but it's small. It fills up. It was never meant to store things for long, it's an inbox, not a filing cabinet. Everything on it is temporary, and if nothing is done, it gets buried, or swept away to make room for tomorrow. Now night comes. You fall asleep. And the night shift begins its real work. The brain goes to that crowded desk, picks up the day's papers one by one, and starts carrying them, carefully, into deep, long-term storage, spread across the wide outer surface of the brain, the cortex. That's the big filing cabinet. That's where memories go to last for years, for decades, for a lifetime. Scientists have actually watched this happen. In the sleeping brain, they can see the hippocampus and the cortex talking to each other in the dark. The day's memories get replayed, fired off again, in fast little bursts, like the brain flipping through the day at high speed, choosing what to save. The route you drove, the story you heard, the skill you practiced, replayed while you dream, stamped deeper each time. This is the single most important thing I want you to hold on to tonight, so let me say it plainly. The memory of today does not truly become yours in the moment you live it. It becomes yours tonight, while you sleep, when your brain carries it from the desk to the cabinet. Miss that step, sleep too little, sleep too broken, and the papers pile up on the desk. Uncopied. And by morning, some of them are simply gone. Not because your mind failed. Because the night shift got sent home early. Now here's where it gets interesting. Because that night shift isn't one worker doing one job. There are two very different crews that come on at different hours of the night. And they do completely different things for you. One protects your facts and your memories. The other feeds your creativity and heals your heart. Let me introduce you to both. Your night is not one long, even stretch of the same thing. It comes in waves. Cycles. Roughly every 90 minutes, all night long, your brain rises and dips through different stages of sleep, like a boat riding swells on the ocean. And two of those stages matter enormously for your mind. They're so different they almost feel like two separate kinds of sleep, run by two separate crews. The first crew works in what we call deep sleep. Slow wave sleep. This is the heaviest, most dead to the world sleep you get, the kind where if someone woke you, you'd feel drugged, confused, like you were dragged up from the bottom of a well. In deep sleep, your brain waves slow down and roll in big, long, powerful waves, all moving together. It's the deepest rest your brain ever gets. And here's the thing you need to know. Deep sleep is the fact keeper. This is the crew that files away information. Names, faces, numbers, what you read, what you learned, where you put things. The stuff you'd call your memory in the everyday sense, that gets locked in during deep sleep. This crew is the librarian, patiently shelving the day's knowledge so you can find it tomorrow. There's something else remarkable that happens in deep sleep, and I have to tell you about it, because it matters so much after 50. During deep sleep, your brain gets washed. Cleaned. There's a system, think of it as plumbing for the brain, that opens up while you're in deep sleep and flushes out the waste that builds up during the day. And among the things it clears away are the very sticky proteins that, when they pile up over years, are linked to memory disease. Your brain has a rinse cycle. And it only runs properly when you go deep. Skimp on deep sleep, and the trash doesn't get taken out. Night after night, that adds up. Now, the second crew comes on later, and it's a whole different character. This is REM sleep. Rapid eye movement sleep. The dreaming stage. If you've ever seen a dog's eyes flicker and paws twitch while it sleeps, that's REM. Your eyes dart around behind closed lids, your brain lights up almost as much as when you're awake, and you dream your wildest, strangest dreams. REM is not the librarian. REM is the artist. The dream studio. While deep sleep files each fact neatly in its own drawer, REM does something stranger and, honestly, more magical. It takes memories out of their drawers and lays them all across the table together, today's, and last year's, and something from your childhood, and it looks for connections between things that don't obviously go together. It's during REM that your brain links a problem you're stuck on to an idea from somewhere completely unrelated. It's during REM that creativity happens. And it's during REM, this is the tender part, that your brain works on your emotions. It takes the hard moments of your life and, over many nights, slowly softens the sharp edges, so the memory stays but the sting fades. So look at the two crews. Deep sleep early in the night, filing your facts and washing your brain. REM sleep, heavier toward morning, connecting your ideas and healing your heart. You need both. And here's a fact that should make you protect your mornings. The REM sleep, the creative, emotional sleep, comes mostly in the last stretch of the night, those final hours before you'd naturally wake. Which means every time you cut your night short, set the alarm early, drag yourself up before you're ready, the sleep you're cutting off is that precious creative sleep. You're not trimming the fat off your night. You're cutting off the artist right as they sit down to work. Now I want to flip this around, because so far we've talked about the night after you learn something. But there's a second half to this story, and it surprises almost everyone. Sleep doesn't just save what you've already learned. Sleep the night before decides how much you're even able to learn in the first place. Let me explain, because this one is important, and it clears up a mystery a lot of us feel and never name. Remember the desk, the hippocampus, where the day's new information lands? That desk has to be clear and ready to receive. A good night's sleep is what wipes that desk clean and empties the inbox, so that when morning comes, you've got fresh, open space to take in new things. But when you don't sleep well, the desk stays cluttered from yesterday. There's no room. And so the new information of the day, the conversation, the doctor's instructions, the name of the person you just met, it has nowhere to land. It bounces off. It doesn't stick, because there was no clean surface to write it on. Researchers have measured this, and the number is striking. Take a group of people, teach them new things after a full night's sleep, and teach another group the same things after a poor night. The well-rested group forms new memories dramatically better, by something like 40%. 40%. That's the difference between a brain that's ready to learn and a brain that never got its desk cleared. Now think about what this means in a real life. Think about the older person who sleeps badly, up at 3, up again at 5, never quite rested, and then, during the day, keeps misplacing things, forgetting what the doctor said, struggling to hold a new name. And everyone, including them, quietly concludes, the memory is going. But often, that's not a failing memory at all. That's a brain that showed up to work with a full, cluttered desk, morning after morning, and never had the space to record the day in the first place. The problem isn't that they can't remember. It's that they never fully recorded. You can't lose what you never saved. I find this genuinely hopeful. Because it means a lot of what looks like memory decline is really sleep decline wearing a costume. And sleep, unlike age, is something we can actually work on. So here's the shape of the whole picture now. You need sleep before you learn, to prepare the brain, to clear the desk, to be ready to take things in. And you need sleep after you learn, to save what you took in, to move it from the desk to the cabinet. Sleep sits on both ends of every memory you make. It's the ground you stand on before, and the vault you lock it in after. Miss either side, and the memory falls through. Which is exactly why, when your sleep starts slipping in your 50s and 60s and 70s, it doesn't feel like one problem. It feels like your whole mind getting foggier. Because it's hitting you from both directions at once. The good news is that both directions respond to the same thing. Better nights. Have you ever gone to bed stuck on something, a problem, a decision, a worry with no clear answer, and woken up in the morning, and somehow, you just knew? Not because you sat and reasoned it out. It was simply there when you opened your eyes. Clear. Obvious. As if someone had worked on it overnight and left the answer on your nightstand. You weren't imagining that. Someone did work on it overnight. It was you. Your sleeping brain. There's an old, plain piece of wisdom that every language has some version of. Let me sleep on it. Don't decide tonight. Sleep on it, and see how it looks in the morning. People have said that for centuries without knowing why it works. Now we know why. And it's beautiful. Remember the artist, the REM crew, the dream studio, working in the second half of the night. While you sleep, that crew is doing something your waking mind almost never does. During the day, your thinking runs in straight lines, in familiar grooves. You think about a problem the same way you always have, using the same connections, going down the same worn paths. That's efficient. But it's also why you get stuck. You keep circling the same block. At night, in REM sleep, those rules loosen. Your brain starts putting things together that would never meet during the day. A memory from your work life brushes up against something from your childhood. A problem in your family connects to a story you heard on the radio. The brain roams wide, free of the daytime rules, and every so often, it strikes a connection that solves the thing. And you wake up holding the answer, not even knowing where it came from. History is full of this. Melodies that came to musicians in dreams. Discoveries where the scientist saw the shape of the answer while asleep and woke up to write it down. Inventors, writers, painters, so many of them learned to trust the night, to go to bed with the question and let the dream studio work the late shift. And you don't have to be an inventor for this to matter in your life. This is the sleep that helps you find the right words for the hard conversation you've been dreading. This is the sleep that lets you wake up and finally see what to do about the thing that's been weighing on you. This is the sleep that turns a jumble of worry into a clear next step. There's one more gift the dreaming brain gives you, and it's the tenderest one, so I want to slow down for it. REM sleep is also where your brain heals your feelings. Here's how it seems to work. When something painful happens, a loss, a fear, a hard memory, it gets stored with all the raw emotion attached to it, hot and sharp. And over the following nights, during REM sleep, your brain revisits that memory in a calm, safe state, and slowly separates the memory from the pain. It keeps the lesson. It keeps the fact of what happened. But it turns down the heat. So that in time you can remember a hard thing without the whole wound reopening every time. Sleep is how the mind grieves. It's how you carry a loss and still get up in the morning. It's the reason time really can soften things, but only if you're sleeping, because the softening happens in the dream. Which is why grief and worry and sleeplessness get tangled together so cruelly. The nights you most need that healing sleep, after a loss, in a hard season, are exactly the nights it's hardest to get. And then the pain stays sharp longer, because the brain never got its chance to work on it in the dark. If you've lived through that, you already know it in your body. Now you know why. So by now you might be thinking, this is all wonderful, but my sleep isn't what it used to be. I don't sleep the way I did at 30. And you'd be right. It isn't. And I want to talk about that honestly, because there's a lot of unnecessary fear and a few real things to fix. First, the honest truth. Sleep does change with age, and much of that change is normal. It is not a sign that something is wrong with you. As we get older, our sleep naturally gets a little lighter. We spend less time in that heaviest, deepest sleep, remember, the fact keeper, the brainwasher. We wake more easily. A sound that wouldn't have touched us at 30 now pulls us straight up at 2 in the morning. We tend to get sleepy earlier in the evening and wake earlier in the day. Many older people find themselves wide awake at 5, whether they like it or not. Some of this is just the body's clock shifting with the years. It happens to nearly everyone, and on its own, it is not a disease. So if you've been lying awake at 4 in the morning telling yourself something is deeply wrong with you, ease up on that thought. A lot of it is simply the season of life you're in. But, and this matters, some of what steals sleep after 50 is not natural aging at all. It's a pile of small, fixable things that we blame on age because they show up at the same time. And this is where the hope lives. Because these, we can do something about. Let me name them, plainly. Caffeine. As you age, your body clears caffeine more slowly. That afternoon coffee that never bothered you at 40 may now be quietly sitting in your system at bedtime, holding the door open, keeping you out of deep sleep even if you fall asleep just fine. Alcohol. I have to be honest about this one, because it's the great myth of sleep. A drink in the evening feels like it helps you sleep, it makes you drowsy, you go down easy. But alcohol robs you of exactly the sleep we've been talking about. It steals your deep sleep and it crushes your REM, your creativity, your emotional healing. A nightcap doesn't give you rest. It gives you unconsciousness, and takes the good sleep in exchange. That's why you can spend 8 hours in bed after a few drinks and wake up feeling like you never slept. The bathroom. Waking to use the bathroom pulls many older people out of sleep again and again, chopping the night into pieces so you never get a long, unbroken stretch of the deep stuff. Medications. Some common ones interfere with sleep as a side effect. Always worth a conversation with your doctor, never a reason to stop anything on your own. And then the quiet ones. Less sunlight, because we go outside less. Less movement, because we sit more. More worry, running in loops at 3 in the morning. Long naps in the afternoon that steal from the night. A body clock with nothing to anchor it, because the days have lost their shape. Do you see what these have in common? Almost none of them are your brain wearing out. They're circumstances, habits, things around the edges of your day. And that means they can be changed. Here's something most people never realize. The night you have is built by the day you live. Good sleep doesn't start at bedtime. It starts when you open your eyes in the morning. So let's walk through a day, and I'll show you where the levers are. It begins with light. This is the single most powerful thing you can do, and it's free. In the morning, within an hour of waking, get your eyes into bright light, ideally real sunlight, outdoors. Not staring at the sun, just outside, under the open sky, even on a gray day. 10, 15, 20 minutes. Have your coffee on the porch. Take a short walk. Water the garden. Why does this matter for sleep at night? Because morning light is the signal that sets your body's clock. It's like winding a watch. That burst of light in the morning tells your brain, clearly, this is the start of the day, and it quietly starts a timer that, some 14, 16 hours later, releases the hormone that makes you sleepy at the right time that night. Skip the morning light, and the clock drifts, and the sleepiness never quite arrives on schedule. Most people trying to fix their sleep obsess over bedtime. The real fix often happens at breakfast. And here's a bonus for the years we're in. Getting outside in the morning, moving a little, is also protecting your bones, your heart, your mood, and your balance. One habit, paying you in every direction. Next, movement. You don't need a gym. You need your body used during the day. A walk. Working in the yard. Stairs instead of the elevator. Any real movement, especially earlier in the day, deepens your sleep that night. It increases exactly that deep, fact-keeping, brainwashing sleep we care so much about. A used body sleeps better than a rested one. Now, caffeine. I'm not going to tell you to give up your coffee, I wouldn't, and I don't need to. But I'll ask you to move it. Enjoy your coffee in the morning, freely. Then draw a line in the early afternoon, somewhere around 2 o'clock, and after that line, no more caffeine. That includes tea, colas, and that innocent-looking cup after dinner. Remember, your body is slower to clear it now than it used to be. Giving it 8 or 10 hours before bed is one of the simplest sleep upgrades there is. And a gentle word on the afternoon nap. Naps can be wonderful. But a long, late afternoon nap borrows from the night. If you nap, keep it short and keep it early. A long snooze at 5 in the evening is often the hidden reason a person lies awake at midnight. So that's your day, laid out. Morning light. Real movement. Coffee early, and a firm line in the afternoon. Nap short and early. None of it is hard. All of it is building the night before the night arrives. Now the evening. The hours before bed. This is where you either protect the sleep you built all day, or throw it away in the last stretch. As evening comes, start bringing the light down. This is the mirror image of the morning. Bright light in the morning starts the clock, dim light in the evening tells your brain the day is ending. So an hour or two before bed, turn off the big overhead lights. Use lamps, low and warm. Let the house get dim and golden. You're sending your brain the oldest signal there is: the sun is going down, it's nearly time. This is also where screens come in, and I'll be practical rather than preachy. The bright, cold light of a television up close, a tablet, a phone held near your face, it's a little jolt of morning at the wrong end of the day. You don't have to give up your evening show. But ease off the phone in bed, dim your screens, and don't let that bright little rectangle be the last thing your eyes drink in before you close them. Now, temperature. This one surprises people. To fall asleep and to reach deep sleep, your body actually needs to cool down a little on the inside. A bedroom that's too warm is one of the most common reasons people can't drop into deep sleep. So keep your bedroom cooler than feels obvious, on the cool side, with blankets you can adjust. Here's a lovely trick that seems backwards. A warm bath or shower before bed actually helps you sleep, because when you get out, your body sheds that heat and cools down, and that cooling is the very signal that ushers in sleep. Keep the room dark. Truly dark. Even a little light in the room can lighten your sleep without waking you. And keep it quiet, or use a steady, soft sound to cover the noises that would otherwise pull you up at 3 in the morning. Then there's the mind. Because for so many of us over 50, the body is willing but the mind won't stop. You lie down, and the day's worries line up to be heard. The unpaid bill. The child you haven't heard from. The ache you're trying not to think about. Here, a few old, humble tools really do help. Keep a pad by the bed and write tomorrow's worries down, so your mind can stop holding them, knowing they're safe on paper till morning. Slow your breathing down on purpose, long, slow breaths, the out breath longer than the in, because that's a switch that tells your body it's safe to let go. And this is where I want to give you a tool that's a small miracle for our age group, for anyone who lies awake, or wakes at 3 and can't get back down. It has an awkward name, so bear with me. Some call it non-sleep deep rest. Others call it yoga nidra. The idea is simple. You lie still, on your back, and you follow a calm recording, a voice that walks you through relaxing your body and slowing your breath, part by part. You are not trying to sleep. You're just resting deeply, awake but still. And here's the beauty of it. It takes the pressure off. So much of our sleeplessness comes from lying there desperate to sleep, watching the clock, angry at ourselves, and that very struggle keeps us awake. This practice removes the struggle. You give yourself permission to simply rest, and rest deeply, whether or not sleep comes. And very often, because you've stopped fighting, sleep quietly slips in through the side door. Even when it doesn't, that deep rest gives your brain and body something real. It is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself at 3 in the morning. You can find these recordings easily and freely. Keep one by the bed. Now let me give you the fun part. Because once you understand that sleep is when memory is made, you can start using it on purpose. You can actually aim it. Here's the first one, and it's almost too simple. If there's something you want to remember, a name, a passage, a set of instructions, a poem, the steps of a new skill, look at it, quietly, in the last little while before you sleep. Right before bed. Not stressed, not cramming. Just a calm, gentle review, the last thing before the light goes out. Why does that work? Because whatever is freshest on that desk when you fall asleep gets first priority for the night shift. You're handing your sleeping brain the exact papers you want copied into permanent ink. Students have used this forever without knowing the science. You can use it now, for the things you actually want to keep. Read the grandchild's new address one more time before you sleep. Go over the name of the new neighbor. Let the night do the filing. Here's the second one. Don't try to swallow something all at once and expect it to stick. Your brain saves memories across nights, so spread your learning across nights. A little today, a little tomorrow, a little the day after, with sleep in between each time, beats one long, exhausting push. Each night locks in a little more. This is how you learn a new hobby, a new language, a new anything, at any age. Small pieces, and let each one sleep. And I want to say that part again, clearly, because it's the heart of everything and it undoes a lie a lot of people your age carry. You can still learn. At 60, at 70, at 80, your brain is still fully able to take in new things and make new memories. That never leaves you. The machinery works. It just needs its sleep to do the saving. When people say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, they're wrong, but there's a small truth hiding underneath it. An old dog that isn't sleeping well can't save the tricks. Fix the sleep, and the learning comes back. I've seen it. It comes back. So don't let anyone, including that quiet voice inside you, tell you the door is closed. Pick up the instrument. Learn the language. Take the class. Read the hard book. Your brain will meet you there. Just give it the nights it needs to keep what you feed it. Let me bring this home. I started tonight with that cold little question, is this how it starts, the one that comes when a name slips away? And I hope that, after these minutes together, that question has a little less power over you than it did. Because here is what I most want you to carry out of this. So much of what we fear as our minds fading is really our sleep fading. And sleep is not fate. Sleep is not something that simply happens to you. It's something you can understand, and protect, and rebuild, starting tonight, and starting tomorrow morning with the first light on your face. Remember what's really happening in the dark. Your brain is not shutting off. It's clocking in for the most important work of your day. It's carrying the day from the desk to the cabinet, so you keep it. It's washing itself clean of the very waste that clouds a mind over the years. It's connecting your ideas in ways your daytime mind never could. And it's sitting, patiently, with your hardest feelings, softening them so you can carry on. Every single night, whether you notice or not, your brain is trying to save you. To save your memories, your sharpness, your peace. All it asks is that you give it the room to do the work. So tonight, don't think of going to bed as the day shutting down. Think of it as clocking your brain in for its real shift. Dim the lights a little early. Cool the room. Set down the worries onto paper. And let yourself rest, not as a defeat at the end of the day, but as the most productive, most healing, most important thing you will do all day long. You've spent a lifetime taking care of everyone else. Let the night take care of you. Sleep well. Truly. Your mind is counting on it, and it's not too late to give it what it's been asking for all along. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, rest.